A lot of times people change. And they don't change for no reason. They change because of something. And mainly it's because of a certain place that they're in, maybe the people around them, and maybe the things that they do, or the things that they discover, I guess. I think by the end of it, people are one of the most interesting things that can exist because by the end of it, everybody's very different. They could be very similar in a certain way, but by the end of it, when you outline that thin mark, we're also different. I think what's beautiful is that when you meet people along the way, you make a certain path for yourself. Not gonna lie, I met a really amazing dude, voice actor guy, JJ and Boz. With those two, I don't think that was quite chill people to chill with, I guess, in the community because I don't know, like with me, I guess I started off with a lot of Discord stuff. And a lot of people had a certain mindset to it, but I found people who are very similar. Of course, very different, but very similar in the way how we think or approach a certain situation. I think the beauty is that, like, once you kind of get to know, it's not all for the certain waste, you know? Like, you can learn to appreciate, you can find time for these sort of people, and you get to meet them eventually. You're going to meet people within your own crowd, and you're going to appreciate them. But then there's also that acceptance that you might have to come out with a sacrifice. And sometimes it's another person that you might care about so dearly, but things happen. Whether that's an argument, whether that's a battle for a settlement, one sort of said thing. It's always that case that you always have to figure out exactly where you stand and how you're going to position yourself in a certain way. I think that structure is hella important because by the end of it, it's gonna refine you in a certain way. I think with me, I wouldn't have never learned how to do the audio stuff had it not been for JJ. I would never have been in this position had it not been for meeting someone who's really talented with their art and performing arts, which is Harrison Cronfield. I feel like I did look up to him in a way. Well, I still do. I still look up to him because, in a way, like around in a certain niche or area where people used to think, oh, yeah, acting is just this little thing that everybody just does. Yeah, yeah, like you do act and you become an actor, but then it's just much more to that. I think overall, acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of change that might happen in your life. And like I mentioned before, the sacrifice. This thing isn't this metaphorical sense of, oh yeah, you gotta lose something to gain. No, 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 it's not always like that. Life will hand you an option, a dilemma even, where you pick yourself or you pick something entirely different. And for me, I feel like it's a massive sacrifice to focus on something else other than myself because I haven't structured myself primarily. In another case, in another universe, maybe I might have chosen that direction in life, but in this one, I haven't. It's nice to appreciate all the stuff that I must have done in the past. Don't look at the past as something to just grieve over, but something that you can acknowledge in a way where it's like, I really built myself and I should be proud of it. I think that's how I feel about my stuff, whether I like it or not. It is sad that I did lose a couple of things. For instance, I really wanted this one go. I really did wanted this one go, but it didn't work out. What more can you do? When you mess up, you mess up, you can't return back to it. The person's changed. If I try going back to that, there'd be no point. And ultimately, I had to learn to accept that years ago. Years ago. And I think the beautiful part about that is that, like, we're now two different individuals. Had it been we carried on speaking, had it been we been more than that, we both might have been ignorant. We both might have done our own different careers or standpoints in life, maybe taken different routes. And I think it's interesting to know that every dilemma is a dilemma of free choice. It's not something that is set to stone. You're the one writing the book, you're the one writing the story. And sometimes it's good to just read off those chapters that you just made and acknowledge the character depth that you've made for yourself. I think it's also an interesting choice that like a lot of people could choose to be messed up and people could choose to be completely natural in their own habitat. And I think I've learned to be quite honest with myself, at least. Because I had to stop being this nonchalant thing that I wasn't. Because I'm not nonchalant, I'm quite chalant. I like to speak, I like to yap, I like to do all these different things. But it's also having to learn to accept that, if I can't be myself in a certain equation or a friendship or a relationship that I'm with, forget it. There's no point chasing that. Grief will happen, you'll feel bad, you might even feel like you regretted it. But there's nothing you could do. I'm going to leave it off here, but I don't want to leave it off on a sad note. want you to look at this in a happy way. Because with me, I was struggling for such days, having to come by with this thought because I was listening to this one song. It wasn't sad, it was beautiful, but I took it in a sad way. And I think it's okay if you feel melancholic, you know? Because by the end of it, sometimes you just want that emotional. And I think the beautiful part that I must say about life is that it's a choice to be living in. It's a perfect choice to be living in. Because by the end of it, you never know what you're going to be doing for yourself. Whether you're giving yourself a new opportunity is entirely up to you. You got that free will. You can spend your time removing that social life element and scheduling things and sort of build your own character, build your own thing. Because without that, you wouldn't be anybody. So be true to yourself. Thank you, YouTube, and have a nice day. If you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. It's entirely free and it's completely up to you. Peace.